What's a father to do? What's a father's role? What's a father to do in a time period like this when everything's about the bride, and everything's about the planning and the organization of things? Truthfully, I think many times I felt like a third wheel growing up. I think that with my son, it's always been, admiration and understanding and a bit of concern at times. But I can look at Samuel and say, boy, don't lie to me. I know exactly what you're thinking. But when I look at Megan, it's all been wonder, amazement, and confusion. From the moment my wife always gives me a hard time when we were on our way to the hospital the night Megan was born. I stopped for coffee. I said, everything will be all right, right? And from that time period up until just a few moments ago, she shared my last name. And it's just been fantastic. I never quite knew, as I had mentioned before, what a father was to do. Even through all the time periods in which her and her mother would have private conversations in another room, and I'd get little tidbits and little, segments of that, never really truly understanding what was going on, or again, what my role was. So what's a father to do? I've thought many times that, Megan, you are a well that is far too deep for me. You bring a joy to me, Megan, that is just over my head. When I first saw you in that gown today, I thought that only the Lord could have made you so beautiful. So here we are today, and your hair is all fancy-dancy. And ask Megan about fancy-dancy. Fancy-dancy and poofy-woofy. I'll share with you. I have to confess that I knew two hairdos when Megan was young, and they both looked the same, but they had different names. One was the fancy-dancy, and one was the poofy-woofy. So today, her hair looks fancy-dancy. So when I saw you today, Megan, I looked at you and your wedding day, and I finally realized what my role was. Someone had asked me for my daughter's hand. Thomas, today you asked for my daughter's hand in marriage, and I said I do. And I gave her away willfully, joyfully, and hopefully. Her mother and I do this because we have grown to love you and cherish you, and we appreciate you so much. And to Bill, I'd like to thank you and Thomas, your entire family, for doing such an amazing job of raising a tremendous young man. He is a man of honor, a man of excellence, a man of many passions, and I'll say one love. We prayed for you for a long time, not knowing your name. Years ago, we started praying for Thomas, not knowing that we would meet Thomas, but we have. To the family and friends that are gathered here this evening, we thank you so much for each of your friendship and your love and the special way that you've supported our families and know Megan and Thomas, and we thank you so much for sharing such a special time for us. And Thomas, I've given you Megan because you asked, and Jesus commands that I give what is asked and I give something more. So I give my blessing. And this evening, I give my blessing to both of you, and we wish you a long and a wonderful evening, and we just ask that the Lord would just bless this food and the time of our fellowship together this evening, and we ask it in Jesus' name, amen.